go. So Kallah Nuhra. So that was Kallah Nuhra, and Kallah is the bride of light. She is the light of enlightenment and of understanding, and we've just come from the second power of wisdom and understanding, and she embodies that from the second power onwards. She is also the bride inheritor and the daughter of light. And Mary saying number 2, as she was speaking to her companions, said, there is glory and glory of light, and there is the true light. Seek therefore the essence of the light, which is beyond all, and ye shall know the truth of light. So we're going from wisdom to glory today. Amina.
Okay, before we start with our ritual, I want to have a show and tell here. So last week I went shopping at a thrift store for some picture frames, and I found this one. Of course, you always find neat treasures when you're not looking for them, right? So if you can see that,
Ah,
live by the sun, love by the moon. And
beautiful.
so I found this picture. This is the full moon in Sagittarius, which is where we are today. And I stuck that in there for this particular event. So just wanted you to see that. So now I get to just change the picture every time there's a different moon. So
Beautiful.
so before we start, I did want to read you a few bits about this particular full moon because also it's a lunar eclipse. And so there's a few facts about this particular full moon that I wanted to share with you that are so in tune with what we're doing tonight. So, this Sagittarius full moon lunar eclipse will be guiding us to stand our ground, claim our power, and allow the voice of our inner fire to speak. It is the first in a trio of eclipses, and as we walk this eclipse gateway over the coming weeks, we will discover a new path emerging, one that is very different from the path we were walking on. A lunar eclipse has 10 times the potential of full moon and often clears a path that helps accelerate our soul's journey. We may receive some news that something in our life is coming to an end, or we may find that we are called to release and let go of something that we truly thought was serving us. We may have thought we were going one way, but often an eclipse comes along to reveal a whole new path. As this eclipse falls in Sagittarius, we are likely going to find ourselves clearing thoughts, beliefs, and ideas in order to prepare for this new journey that is yet to unfold. So I thought tonight and today, depending on where you are, tonight or today, um, a lot of the sort of a common thread or theme has run through in preparation for this, and it's all about the voice and the power of the voice. So this leads me to our good old standby, Megan Don and the New Divine Feminine, and the Cosmic Crone of Light. So I want to share a little bit of reading from that. In each of these representations for the seven faces of Mary, there is also one of the chakras, and it starts, of course, with the daughter and the bride of light as at the root chakra, and then goes on up as we go along. So tonight, with the Cosmic Crone of Light, we're in the interior throat chakra. So with this, she shares a myth about Eve and her daughter, Noria. And this is a lesser known text that was found as part of the Nag Hammadi library. Just a little passage from that. But Noria turned with power, and in a loud voice she cried out up to the Holy One, the God of all. Rescue me from the rulers of unrighteousness, and save me from their clutches at once. The great angel came down from the heavens and said to her, Why are you crying up to God? Why do you act so boldly toward the Holy Spirit? Noria said, Who are you? And that was in a quote. Then the rulers of unrighteousness had withdrawn from her. So this passage is a variation or retelling of a Genesis myth. As one knowing her godlike image and retaining her divine consciousness, Noria is Eve's virgin daughter. The rulers of unrighteousness, who are those who've turned away from God, sought to lead her astray, defile her, and make her their servant on this earth. She clearly defies them, and through her loud voice and boldness of spirit, she saves herself by her prayer of command, that she be rescued at once. She then, with equal boldness, questions the origins of the great angel. By this time the rulers clearly recognize this is not a soul to be easily dominated, so they depart. And then the myth goes on to talk about how Eve had also been assailed by these beings, and in order to avoid them, she turned herself into a tree. But she left a shadowy reflection, and so they were still able to see her. But then she gave birth to Noria, and she said, God has produced for me a virgin as an assistance for many generations of human beings. That is, Noria, who in knowing herself and not having her voice defiled, resists those who would seek to dominate and silence her, and is subsequently able to help humanity return to its spiritual root and knowledge. So then she talks a little bit more about the chakra itself. Our voice, our interior throat star, is where our creative power finds its expression. There is great power in speaking our prayer out loud, as when we speak something verbally, we set it in motion and bring it into life, into existence. There is a vibration that begins to tremble in the soul, and something other takes over. When we are truly open, the Spirit can then pray through us, and we will pray things we never imagined or even knew to speak. Magdalene co-created the Grail with such prayer. The crone Elizabeth and the daughter Miriam entered into great prophecy and words of the Spirit by speaking out loud together. Vibration is key to our voice and our interior throat star. When we speak or chant divine names or mantras, it is the vibrational quality that is important. Do we feel the vibration through the whole of our body? Do we feel the quality of that divine name or chant transforming us? If we wish to reach into this interior star, this is where we must travel. It is not about sounding good or feeling light of heart through singing. It takes us much deeper than that. It leads us to our spiritual root, who we are and who we are becoming. And from Thunder Perfect Mind we hear, I am the voice of many sounds and the utterance of many forms. I am the utterance of my name. So just breathe for a moment into the throat chakra, breathing in and out through that center of power. And as we breathe that in, let's breathe in Iggaret. So let's begin our ritual of the full moon. Is that good? Can you see the altar?
Yep.
To the glory of the triple goddess, we kindle the light. Most gracious Lady, goddess of the full moon, we greet you with great rejoicing. We welcome you to our circle and ask that you guide us in this time of power and ripeness and fill us with the fullness of your light. Mary said, if you know the path of the moon, you will know the path of the sun. To the glory of the triple goddess, we kindle the light, invoking the daughter bride of light.
Kallah Nuhra, daughter bride of light, we call to you from the deepest recesses of our souls. We call for you to return to the land of our souls, where it waits to give birth in this world. Bring your inspirations, your dreams, and your new ways of being. Help us to break open all those places that have closed and withered, so we may dance freely in the light. Praise to you, our daughter bride of light.
Chant together the chant for the daughter bride of light, Kallah Nuhra, Ein Sof Or. Kallah Nuhra, Ein Sof
Or.
Kallah Nuhra.
Ein Sof Or. Amina, can you unmute yourself? Because for some reason I can't, you've got muted and I can't unmute you.
Yeah, I've done that twice now, so what's going on?
Okay, let's try it now. It's
Okay.
the mute thing has been strange.
Okay. To the glory of the triple goddess, we kindle the light, invoking the mother of light.
Ama Ayima, woman of light, we pray to you in all your splendor and your brightness of soul. May we come to our birthing with grace, with openness, with desire, letting complacency fall aside, and with old energies willing to die. Let our heavenly soul be known within and all around us. For this is our saving grace, our soul known in you, our soul born in you. Praise to you, Mother, our woman of light. Chant.
So let's chant together, Ama Aima, Ein Sof Or. 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 Ama To the glory of the triple goddess, we kindle the light, invoking the cosmic crone of light and ancient wisdom.
Iggaret, ancient one of knowledge, bring your secrets of transformation. Come, bringing forward something from nothing, of giving form to the formless. You have no fear of the swirling waters, begetting life and death and life again. Help us to be like you, great crone, not dimming our light for anybody, not apologizing for who we are. Let us know the humour of light and the light of humour, right through to our very bones. Praise to you, Iggaret, our cosmic crone of light.
And let us invoke Iggaret Hakma Or. 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 Now let's all sing together these holy names of the triple goddess of light. Kallah Nuhra, Kallah Nuhra, Kallah Nuhra, Ein Sahur. Kallah Nuhra,
worry. It should be easier.
Yeah, I know.
And let's just breathe those holy names in for a moment, after which Anna will lead us in a meditation.
To start our meditation, we will be focusing on the throat chakra and imagining a beautiful cerulean or a sky blue color shining brightly in our throat. And what we're going to do, we're going to be saying the syllables of Ama Ima, but very long syllables. And the aim of doing this is to clear the throat chakra and also to feel into that vibration. So we're going to hold each syllable for a long time till you feel the vibration in your body. And that vibration is that portal that opens you up to the spiritual gateways. So it's one thing singing to feel light and good, and it's another, now I understand with the Buddhists why they chant so deeply, is to actually feel the vibration moving you from your throat through your whole body. So we start off with the syllable of ah. So we hold it on nice and long. So just say it to yourself, or speak it out loud. Ah. Then we do ma, ma, ma. E, ma, ma. We're going to join that all up together. Ah, ma, I, ma. And then we're going to do the word Elohim, the one and the many. So linking that all up, Elohim, Aima, Elohim. Now I'd like us all to chant our own names with the syllables, nice and long. So out loud to yourself, chanting your own name. Anna Sophia. So we give thanks and we give loving kindness to our soul as we speak our soul into existence. And finishing with the prayer to the Crone of Vision, Cosmic One of the Great Vision. May you elevate my consciousness, my sight and sound this day. May I be restored to all levels of reality, not bound by my small sound or my small vision. One of great wisdom, may I abide with you a while. Give me your eyes and ears to hear, your mind to know, your faith to love. Take me, Crone of Love, into your hallowed womb and birth me anew. Ama Elohim. So we will now finish with the closing blessing.
There I am. Goddess of the full moon, renewer of life, we thank you for your presence here today, and we bid you farewell until we next meet under your light. May it shine forever within our hearts and light our steps. Go in peace. And now let's stand for the closing affirmations of this divine life. I am and I am becoming. I am pure, radiant awareness.
I am pure, radiant awareness.
Ya Mariam.
Ya Mariam.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Thank you. So Amina's going to prepare, I'll take a few minutes to prepare her next session here on the third power, which is very exciting. And I'd just like to hear from any of you how you found the second power, and what wisdom and understanding has come from that power of concentration on that. So you can just unmute yourself as you're speaking.
This is Sally, and I have gained some wisdom in as I relate to my daughter. I don't want to go into details, but that had been a big challenge for me in keeping my center when she wasn't in her own. And it was a beautiful thing. She and I did a full moon ritual together about an hour and a half ago, and I feel a great healing, and I really appreciate Amina and this group.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you. Lovely to hear from you. Yay, now we can see you. Wonderful. Who else has had something that they would like to share? Some understanding, some wisdom that's come?
So this is Ellen from California, and I'm so glad I could be here today. It seemed a little problematic, and I have to duck out pretty soon. But it wasn't so much a new wisdom. I was just feeling a deeper internalization and embodiment of what is already perking. And I particularly felt the power in the last prayer that we did. That's like a deep request for voice, for vision, for carrying forth what we are tapping in here together. So appreciated this time to share this.
Yeah. Wonderful. I found it was very interesting how the daughter and the bride of light connect up with the crone of light. Like we have our wisdom birthed within us, but like you say, Ellen, it becomes deeper and deeper as we're coming into our crone years, and she's able to speak more fully. I think we as elders now are not afraid to speak our truth. And Eve herself, when she was, I found was fascinating in that story, Eve was turned herself into a tree. So that when the rulers of unrighteousness went to get her, they actually just got her shadow. So it wasn't the substance of her being. So when we stay in our pure center, in the radiant, pure awareness of our being, which is our tree, then that is our wisdom grows from there. So I was just tapping into some mindfulness teachings again during the week, and I thought, yeah, just being with the breath, being present, fully present to the moment, the wisdom comes. So yeah, that was kind of my insight. And they can't really get at us when we stay in our real deep core, in our tree, which everything else is the shadow. So that's kind of comforting. Anyone else there? No.
Yeah, I can share a little bit. It hasn't been such an easy fortnight for me as the last one, and I've just struggled a bit to get some wisdom and understanding in a situation in my residence. And what I'm really struggling with, I can project it out externally, but I know it's just what's going around in my head. So it's been around repetitive, unwanted thoughts, just thinking about a situation. But yesterday I finally sent an email after actually some months of difficulty, where I've tried to pull back and just not get caught into it. And I'm loving it that today is about the power of the voice. I'm going, oh yay, at least I sent that little bit of a got my voice happening. And in the meditation, just that when we're doing the long syllables and doing our names, that was really beautiful. But just feeling the vibration coming down into my whole of my chest and my heart. And it was that reminder of the so feeling that power of the voice and that sacred practice with the mantras, just and breaking it down like that's beautiful. So I'm very glad to be here.
Lovely. Right, Amina, I think you may be ready.
I think I might, yes.
Okay.
So what we'll do later when we begin our rosary practice is when we intone the divine names, we'll use the same technique. And I think the more you, one of the things that when you're doing it on your own is to find your own note, whatever that is at that time. It's not always the same. And feel it as deeply as you can, and then go from that place to making your sound. And then the other thing is you want to finish the syllable. When we're saying Elohim, we want to elongate the Elohim, get that whole sound out. So it's, and you can begin to feel that vibration. I have written up a sort of a brief introduction explanation of what is the Kabbalah and what is the Tree of Life. It's all on one page, and that's going to be sent out to you when we send you the recording. So you'll get that along with your regular handout. Although it's certainly not mandatory that you understand the Kabbalah at all in doing this rosary practice. It's it can be what it is without any knowledge whatsoever. But for those of you who are interested, are curious, and want to know more, I'm happy to share what information that I can. And anytime you have a question, feel free to email me or whatever. but at least you'll get a little overview for this handout. The other thing I want to start with is that Anna had asked me if I might give you a little bit of the story or the history of where the Mary prayer, Rosary prayer, came from. And it's not really accidental. Um, as I've mentioned before, I guess it was last year, maybe a couple of years ago now, I discovered Clark Strand and The Way of the Rose, and started reading his books. And in this, they have a very active Facebook group. And one of the things that they do is meet weekly. Even now during the coronavirus, they're meeting daily to say the Rosary together. And of course, this is the Hail Mary that they're saying. But I had never done that. I had never done the Hail Mary. And so I attended some of those. And it was happening at the same time as when I was beginning to be inspired to create this Mary Magdalene Rosary. So I don't think anything happens, accidentally. I think it's all a plan. And so I was just following along to see where it took me. And it occurred to me that one of the powerful things about the Hail Mary is that it has been prayed for centuries. There is so much power in those, and even in English, even, although, of course, in other languages, there's, I'm assuming it was probably originally Latin uh, or Greek. I don't really know for sure. But and so I was bringing that thought into wanting a prayer for Mary Magdalene that could sort of get out there into the ethers. So in coming up with this prayer, I modeled it after the Hail Mary prayer. And I learned through the Way of the Rose that originally just the first two lines of the Hail Mary were used, and for hundreds of years. Um, the Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Those were the only lines that were prayed for, as I said, for hundreds of years. And I looked at those and I realized that both of those came from somewhere. Someone spoke those words to her. The first one was from Gabriel, the messenger, when he appeared to her. And that is what he said to her: Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. So the first line of the Mary Magdalene prayer became the words of Jesus to Mary. Blessed are you, Miriam, for you did not waver at the sight of the risen Master. Now put that in the words of us as the observer. But Jesus said to her in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, Blessed are you, Miriam, for you did not waver at the sight of me. And this, of course, is relating to when he rose, theoretically, rose from the dead, the risen Savior. So that's the first line. The second line of the Hail Mary is, Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. And these words were spoken by Elizabeth, her cousin, who was at the same time expecting the birth of John the Baptist. And so those words were like almost a prophecy, or they were words that really said who Mother Mary was. And so for the Magdalene Rosary, the words are from the disciple Peter, when he said to Mary in the Gospel, You who were his companion and whom he loved more than any other woman. So that's where those two lines came from. The second part of the Hail Mary came later as people began to want to petition Mary to answer their prayers and to bless them with her being, and to be in her, and for her to be with them. And so they address her, Holy Mary, Mother of God. And so we address Mary Magdalene, Holy Bride, Apostle of the Apostles. These are titles and names that she's known by. And then the final line in the Hail Mary, pray for us all, now and at the hour of our death. And so these last lines in the Mary Magdalene prayer actually came to me in a vision in meditation from Mary. Although she didn't say these words, she demonstrated the words as I was asking her for assistance, for help with something I was working with. And she appeared at my right shoulder, and I saw her there. And instead of talking to me, she walked forth and took me where I was, to the place that I was looking for to answer the question. And so that's where the last part of the Rosary prayer came from. And then, of course, bless me with your eternal presence. So I'd also like to add at this point that this last part of the prayer particularly is one that you can make your own. It can become a personal prayer to Mary for you if there's guidance or help or assistance or some state that you're needing help with. I sometimes will say, be at my right shoulder today as I prepare for this, that, or in whatever state that I'm going to be in. I'll ask for her help in that way. And so it becomes between me and her, just in that moment when I'm asking for her presence and for her help. And at the end, of course, bless me with your eternal presence. Amen. So that's the story.
Thank you.
So before we start our practice, are there any questions or comments about that particular thing, about the Mary Prayer itself? Okay. I'm going to share screen with our guide for the practice tonight. Can everyone read that okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. What is there? There we go. So tonight, today and tonight, and on this particular power, we are in the 8th Sephiroth, which is Hod, and the divine name with Hod is Elohim Zabaoth, which means has several meanings, but the one we're using particularly for this practice is creator gods or goddesses of hosts. The Zabaoth is the word for host or hosts. And Elohim, of course, we've talked about. One of the meanings is the one in the many, God of the one in the many, or God who is the one in the many. And also, because this is gendered feminine, it can also be God the Mother. So that's another way to use it. The host refers to all of humanity and the angelic kingdom. And when we use it with Elohim, it can be used as asking these hosts to respond as opposed to going to God directly. So that's one meaning that's been given to it. And of course, the Hebrew name is there for Elohim Zabaoth. So here are some of the qualities of Hod. On the Tree of Life, you will see either the word glory or splendor is attributed to Hod, and that is one of the meanings of Hod. But there are several others that I want to include. The Hod is the glory of the illuminated or light-filled mind, reverberation, honor, and splendor of the divine. And Hod is also on the Tree of Life. It has the attribute of the mind, of the intellect, of awareness. So Hod represents the thinking processes that channel divine inspiration into prophecy and is the consciousness of awareness itself, being conscious that you're being aware. It's the sphere most involved with words and sounds, the power of which can aid in spiritual development of individuals and the planet as a whole. So as you see, this is the theme, this use of the words and sounds, and of course we vibrate the holy names. And so it's all very much, what do you call it? Serendipitous, synchronicity. And then there's a quote that comes from one of the Kabbalah texts. When God instructed Moses to choose Joshua as the next leader of the people, Moses was told, "And give some of your honor, Hod, unto him, so that all the congregation may be obedient." The splendor of Hod has a purpose to ensure that the divine will is understood and obeyed. So that's a little bit of an understanding of the Sephiroth itself. So let's begin our practice with our invocations. We will say this first invocation together, seated, and then we'll stand, those of you who want to stand, for the Kabbalistic cross, which we learned last week. And I'll review it with you for those who weren't here last week. So, just taking a couple of breaths as we become centered, focusing on the power and the glory, the honor of Hod as we come into this time of practice. Holy art thou, O Lord of our universe. Holy art thou whom nature hath not formed. Holy art thou, O vast and mighty one, Lord of the light and of the darkness. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Amen. Now, if you'd like to stand for our invocation of light, the Kabbalistic cross. No, I think I need to go the other way. I need a remote control. There. So just to review, we begin. Anna wanted me to mention this. I just remembered. At the end, when we say Leolam Amin, our right hand is over here on our left shoulder. And so we just want to cross over with our left hand. I believe in the instructions it says right over left, but it's much more convenient just to cross left over right at that point. So, whatever works for you. So we begin with our right hand, 2 fingers pointing up to the light, and the left hand, 2 fingers pointing down to the earth, as we visualize a stream of light coming from the heavens, and we want to bring that light down on Atah into the third eye. And we'll be intoning these Hebrew names, which represent, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Atah. Then bringing our hand down through the chakras to the earth chakra. Malkut. Right shoulder. Vege Bura. Left shoulder. Vege Dula. Leolam Amin. And then silently we visualize that cross of light, saying again the words silently. we see the light as a spinning disc within our heart. Amen. So before we start the practice, I'll read the third power. Then my master showed me the third great bough, which bears the fruit of honor and humility. Only when free of all duplicity and arrogance may you partake of its nourishment. And arrogance called to me, saying, "You are not worthy, go back." But my soul was deaf to him, and so moved onward and upward into increasing light. So we begin with the Aramaic Lord's Prayer, or whichever form of the prayer that you're comfortable saying. Avun Devashamaya, Nikada Shamak, Tete Malkuta, Nekwe Sivianat Aikana Devashmaya Apa Ara, Havlan Lakma Dasun Kanan Yamana, Washbaklan Havain Waktahin, Aikana Dafkanan Shwokanal Hayavain, Wela Taklan Lena Suna, Ayla Patsan Min Bisha, Matul Dilahe Malkuta, Wahaila Watesh Bukta, La Alam Amin, Amen. Ya Mariam, I rise from the darkness, which is the root of the tree of life, and reach the light that is the eternal life of the Spirit. Amen. We come to our first connector bead. We'll say the Mary prayer, announce the power, and say the God name once. Blessed are you, Miriam, for you did not waver at the sight of the risen Master. You who were his companion and whom he loved more than any other woman. Holy Bride, Apostle of the Apostles, be at my right shoulder as I walk forth in the infinite light, and bless me with your eternal presence. Amen. The third power. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am freed from duplicity and arrogance. Elohim Zabaoth. And we'll say the power 7 times. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am free from duplicity and arrogance. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am freed from duplicity and arrogance. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am freed from duplicity and arrogance. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am freed from duplicity and arrogance. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am freed from duplicity and arrogance. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am freed from duplicity and arrogance. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am freed from duplicity and arrogance. And on our second connector bead, we say the Mary prayer, the power, and then we'll chant the God name 7 times. Blessed are you, Miriam, for you did not waver at the sight of the risen Master. you who were his companion and whom he loved more than any other woman. Holy Bride, Apostle of the Apostles, be at my right shoulder as I walk forth in the infinite light, and bless me with your eternal presence. Amen. The third power. I eat the fruit of honor and humility, and I am free from duplicity and arrogance. Elohim Zabaoth, Elohim Zabaoth, Elohim Zabaoth, Elohim Zabaoth, Elohim Zabaoth, Elohim Zabaoth, Elohim Zabaoth. And now we breathe in Elohim, breathe out Zabaoth 7 times. And now the Mary prayer one final time. Blessed are you, Miriam, for you did not waver at the sight of the risen Master, you who were his companion and whom he loved more than any other woman. Holy Bride, Apostle of the Apostles, be at my right shoulder as I walk forth in the infinite light, and bless me with your eternal presence. Amen. Now our closing prayer. I rise from the darkness which is the root of the tree of life, and reach the light that is the eternal life of the Spirit. I am free to remember eternity. Amen. Ya Mariam, Avun Devashamaya. And just breathe in the resonance of the prayer, the holy names, the powers. Todah Rabbah Elohim. Thank you, God. Amen.
Amen.
So, we're open for sharing, questions, discussion. And if you want to speak, just unmute yourself, and then you can mute yourself back afterwards.
Well, it just struck me actually how that closing prayer, because I've been doing this, but somehow been doing the opening and the closing prayer the same way, and I just realised now I forgot about remembering eternity when I get to the end.
Well, actually, I kind of snuck that in last time. I had not included it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And when Faranisa was here with us for one of those early meetings, she mentioned it. It was in the first version of the prayer that I did, or the Rosary. So I thought, yeah, let's put that back in. So.
Yeah, I like it. It really feels like I've suddenly lifted up.
And that is part of what she said at the end after her ascent. So it's okay.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the additional divine names for meditations and contemplation? Because you had something very interesting to say about Teshbukta.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
At the end of your handout, you'll find additional divine names, as we've been doing. And one that came to me was from the last line, the 8th line of the Aramaic Lord's Prayer. The word Teshbukta, Matuldi Lahe Malkuta, Wahaila wa Teshbukta, La Alam Amin Amen. And that is the glory, the kingdom, the power, and the glory. And that's Hod. So there's Hod again showing up in that last line of the prayer. And Sadi's commentary about that translation is glory that calls forth more exactly the image of a song, a glorious harmony returning divine light and sound to matter in equilibrium. And I get chill bumps every time I read that because it's so much in tune with this particular power and this Sephiroth.
Oh, I think it's amazing, when I started to work with this just the last couple of days and started to tone with long tones, what difference it made to my voice and cleared that throat. And so now I'm thinking as a practice when we do the dances of universal peace, where we tend to start to launch right into the Wazayif or the sacred phrase, as a practice to hold that phrase with long syllables, like the Buddhists do, the Buddhist monks really chant it into your body. It makes such a huge difference to the experience of that wazifa or mantra that you're dealing with. And for instance, we're going to meet tomorrow on Australian Zoom. So I've been practicing with gate, gate, paragate in long syllables. And it does, as soon as you start to do that in long syllables, I feel like, I am free to remember eternity. It brings.
One of the things, excuse me, Anna, one of the things that happens over time and with practice with this technique, you know how the Buddhist monks, they do what's called overtoning. And from their voices, there come these two distinct notes, you might say. You can actually reach that state yourself and through practice, and you'll feel a higher vibration coming through the words, and your voice, your throat will just of its own accord do that overtoning. So it's really awesome when it happens.
Wow.
Not every time, but I'd say if you're chanting for several minutes, at least several minutes without ceasing, you get to that state. It's sort of like an altered state in the throat. And other words from the Arabic, which Anna has given us. You want to talk about those, Yamuis and Yamudhi?
Yes, well, oftentimes in the divine names you have opposites and they balance each other out. So this is the opposite, the honor and the dishonor. And all of them are states of the divine. So it's great to be able to experience that. Yamuiz, Yamuzil, and the DH is like a Z. Yamuhiz, Yamuzil. And they both help you come to that place of honor and humility. So, yeah, and good to practice them 33 times.
And then one other, I've added in the Hebrew a couple of other variations with Elohim, one being Ruach Elohim, and this is the spirit or breath of the one and the many, or the Mother God. And also the Ruach you can say in Aramaic, which is Ruha, and Ru in Arabic. So of course those Semitic languages all have that same root of the Ru, and that is that breath, that wind, the spirit of the one.
Beautiful. And then you've got hold in front of Elohim, Sabaoth.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is a practice I've been doing just for myself, and that is combining the name of the Sephiroth with the divine name. And in this case, we are invoking the honor and truthfulness of Hod, and combining that, joining that with the Mother God or the God of Hosts. So you can play with that and see how that feels for you. I had not shown that in the past because we have I feel like a certain amount of time, and I don't want to overload you with stuff. So I'm sneaking stuff in every week.
Great, beautiful. So shall we finish with that beautiful chant that now is on Bandcamp, Elohim Sabaoth? And unless somebody has something else to say, we'll finish for now and see you. Yes, Ariana.
I think it's interesting that we've been talking about the fifth chakra, because for the past 2 days, I have lost my voice. And so I think it's ironic that at this point in time when we are honoring the fifth chakra, that I'm at a place where I can't tone right now, that there's something in the way or that's not healed to allow me to fully embrace the vibration, because, everything is vibration.
till we meet again on the new moon. May you have an auspicious blessing of the full moon and follow the newness of your path, however it may reveal itself. And Amina, thank you so much, my dear, for taking us to glory.
Ya Mariam.
Ya Mariam, everyone. Ya Mariam.
Ya Mariam.
Beautiful. See you again soon.
Goodbye, all.
Bye.
Bye.